Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today I'm going to be talking about Married at First Sight. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. Don't forget to check out my website, lavidarosastyle.com, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now. Like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, you guys, first of all, what time is it? It is 3:34 in the morning. What am I doing up right now? I actually fell asleep during the original airing of the episode, and I woke up late and I went ahead and wrote down my notes. So I was like, let me just go ahead and throw on some earrings and record this bad boy. So this is like day 2, 3, 4 of the honeymoon. I didn't really keep up. I just want to say I suffered major cringy moments on this episode. Like, really, I don't know what it is about this cast. I feel like they've had a better honeymoon than past seasons. I mean, when you think about Mika and Michael, when you think about Jeff D and Shanice, there have been some train wrecks at the honeymoon, but these people seem to be getting along better, yet it's more cringy. I would almost rather see an argument than some of these cringy moments. So first I'm going to talk about when they were all together, and then I'm going to discuss each couple individually. So when they first sat down all together, Woody is asking about people's connection, and I'm just like, Woody, shut up. Everybody is not connecting as well as you and Amani. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody is not having instant chemistry. Everybody is not like feeling super uber comfortable with one another like you and Amani. Y'all are actually really unique when it comes to that, right? And so I'm like, that could be a very loaded question. You don't know who is getting into an argument. You don't know if people are really fussing behind the scenes and trying to keep it together to y'all face. Like, the honeymoon can be a very turbulent time for some of these couples. Have you not seen any of the past seasons? Obviously not. It's clear that Woody and Amani have the strongest chemistry because everybody seems to see it and is commenting on it. Well, another thing that was interesting about them being together is whenever Brett would speak, Henry was feeling some type of way, because I guess Henry would be the one to be side-eyeing Brett because he hit on Brett's friend the day before he was supposed to get married. So I could see why, you know, Henry could be definitely giving him the side eye, but we know Henry would never call him out about it. So I don't even know why Henry is over there pretending like he was gonna do something, you know what I'm saying? Another thing is people do see the chemistry between Amelia and Bennett, and Karen was like really gushing over Amelia and Bennett, and it's like, girl, you have more passion talking about their relationship than you do Miles. I'm like, I did see that. Okay, so then they get to Miles and Karen and asking about their connection, and y'all, this is a part where I cringed the hardest. Miles announced that instead of them being strangers, now they consider each other my stranger. And she was explaining it, and I'm like, what? And Miles was just eating it up. He was loving it, because like any inch, he's just gonna like revel in it. I don't know. It's like the more and more she explained it, the worse it got. It just was so platonic, so friendship, besties. There was nothing romantic about it in the explanation at all. Then they asked the question of who consummated their marriage and who went this far. It's like, that ain't none of your business. I would have been Brett and Olivia. We're private. We're keeping that to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That ain't none of y'all business. And plus, Olivia is a nurse practitioner, so she probably just doesn't really want her business out there like that, and I don't blame them. Bennett and Amelia said that they smooched, and Woody and Amani said that they took a shower together. And I'm just like, why are y'all, Amani, why are you teasing this man? What's the point of doing all this teasing? Like, I just don't understand. Like, that's the ultimate tease to me. And then they got to Henry and Christina and asking about their connection, and it was just like, much like how I said last week, Christina is like, she talks a good game, and she's talking about, you know, their situation as if it's a positive one when it seems like it's a really awkward, cringy, hard thing to deal with. And, you know, she addresses it a little bit, but I don't know, I'm not buying it, and Amani definitely was not buying it. To me, they harped on Henry and Christina for a little bit too long, because y'all can tell ain't nothing there. Why are y'all pressing the issue? Y'all know Henry ain't gonna step up, and y'all know Christina is gonna try to front and act like there's something there, so move on. And then Henry admitted that he has never approached a woman. Like, ever in your life, Henry? You've never, ever, 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 ever. It makes sense why he is the way he is. If you've never approached a woman, if you've never pushed yourself as a man out of that comfort zone to approach a woman, yeah, I can kind of see why Henry is the way he is. Like, you are too far in your bubble. And a part of me feels like, is he able to change his ways? Is he too far gone in his own ways to change? Because if you haven't approached a woman in 34 years, I don't know what, not even in middle school, you didn't get that out the way in college. Like, what? Woody and Amani's face was priceless. They really are perfect for each other, because they literally made the exact same face when Henry made that confession. That was hilarious. So since we're already talking about Christina and Henry, let's go ahead and move on to them. I want to preface all of this by saying, do y'all think Henry is getting a bad edit? Someone brought that up in my last live. They were like, well, he was a little bit more outgoing and talkative in the I forgot the name of the little show before the show, and I watched it, and yeah, he was a little bit more talkative, but they could have also edited that to make it seem like he was more talkative. Like, they could have been asking him questions in between him talking. You never know. So I don't know, I don't necessarily think it's a bad edit. I do think they make it worse. Like, they stretch out like the pauses and the silence, but I don't think they're editing out his awkward behavior, because I think other people can see that. Once again, we already know this is Henry's first everything on this honeymoon. I mean, first marriage, first honeymoon, first time marrying a stranger, first time out of the country, first time in a kayak, first time taking a mud bath, first time, it was his first time for everything. Was this your first time in a hotel? Like, this was his first everything. They went kayaking, and while they were out kayaking, he admitted that he didn't know how to swim. And so that was just one more thing that Henry has no experience in. And I feel like Christina is completely judging and, you know, really looking down upon him for not having a lot of these experiences. There was one point where there was like a little trampoline. It's not even like it was like the big trampoline. It was like a little like individual person trampoline, and they were jumping on the trampoline, and Henry could barely jump on the trampoline. He said, this was the craziest thing I've ever done. I was like, Henry, you ain't never jumped on no trampoline before. It's not like you was even flipping. You wasn't doing no tricks. There was no way for you to hurt yourself on that trampoline. The craziest thing, Henry, really? Okay, if this is the craziest thing, can you add a little bit more excitement or like fear or something in your voice? He is so monotone across the board, whether he's happy, sad, in between. You can't tell by his voice. You can't tell by his facial expressions, really. He's very one note. So even while he's jumping up and down, this is the craziest thing he's ever done. This is the craziest thing I've ever done. So they go ahead and they get into, what is this, a mud river? Like, I've never seen anything like this before. So I probably wouldn't be happy with doing something like this myself. I probably wouldn't want to dip my hair in that muddy water either. But Henry, you know what I'm saying, I think what Christina really wants him to do is like jump out of your shell, let your hair down, and just let all of your inhibitions go. And that's not gonna happen. It's just, that's why it's so cringy to watch, because you know, at this point, we can see Henry is not going to be that daredevil that Christina wants. He's not going to be aggressive. He's not going to play any other role than the background while Christina takes the lead. Okay? That's it. That's all I see. And I don't see it working because I don't think Christina wants someone that she has to lead. And let's move on to Brett and Olivia. They were talking about past relationships, and his last relationship was less than a year ago. And I'm like, what's up with the experts choosing people that just recently got out of a relationship? Maybe it wasn't serious, maybe it wasn't a long-term one, but it just seems like less than a year ago. That seems kind of fresh. She said her last relationship was 3.5 years ago, and he thinks that's odd. She said she wanted time to figure herself out, and she didn't want to just date around during that time period. And later on, it came out that she wanted to marry this man, but apparently he didn't feel the same way. And so she was really heartbroken, so she took the time to heal. Whereas Brett, he got cheated on years ago by his fiance. She cheated on him once, he found out, they got back together, and she cheated on him again. And so he has a chip on his shoulder. He's been heartbroken, but it doesn't seem like he's taking the time to actually work through that and get over it, because he needs to constantly be in a relationship. And he was making it seem like something was wrong with Olivia for taking her time, when in actuality, that's what you should do when things like that happen. Because now you're out here jumping from woman to woman, and I can guarantee you, you're taking out what your ex did to you on every other woman you come in contact with. Why do you think you keep bouncing from woman to woman to woman? Anyway, he admitted that his last date was 2 days before he got chosen for this process. Once again, experts, what were they thinking? Was he just not honest with them about this, or y'all just needed a wild card? Because Brett, y'all had to know some of this stuff before y'all chose him. He said that was their second date, and he saw potential with her, but he cut it off only because he got matched. So that would have definitely, I would have been on high alert, and definitely that's a huge red flag, because the only reason why you stopped talking to that woman is because you got matched. So that sounds like a little cute backup plan in case this don't work out. It sounds like you kind of really did all this on a whim. It's like you literally just wanted a replacement for your last girl. Another thing that stuck out is that he wants kids, but he will only want to have kids if they both want to have kids. But he says he has a place in his heart. He's dealt with his niece and nephew, and that he's just feels like, you know, he's good with kids. And she says she's not in a rush, but she will consider it. And she, at this point, is not ready to sacrifice to have kids, because having kids is a sacrifice. And she said, and then she said she just doesn't see herself as a parent. And I'm just like, once again, that's another red flag, because it's like, you shouldn't be having kids just because your partner wants to have kids. You know what I'm saying? I just think that's a recipe for disaster. You can end up being resentful towards your kids, not having an emotional bond. There are a lot of people in this world that didn't want to have kids and had them anyway, and that left the kids with a very traumatic experience in relationship with their parents. So I don't agree with her having kids only because her partner wants to have kids. They're not gonna make it. They have too many things working against them, as far as differences, as far as religion goes, as far as not wanting kids. Like that, those are major issues. And I just don't see them, I don't understand why they were matched up, 1 and 2. I just don't see them being able to work through that. Okay, so let's move on to Amelia and Bennett. Amelia asked Bennett why he signed up for Married at First Sight, and he said because YOLO, you only love once. You only love once. And she was like, I don't think that's what that means. You only live once. Like, everybody knows that. everybody knows YOLO means you only live once. Like, anyway, he was genuinely shocked that he was wrong, but he still's gonna stick to it. You only love once. Hopefully this is his everlasting love. So they meet up with Amani and Woody, and he's going swimming in his boxer briefs, like his drawers. And it was hilarious when Woody pointed out, he was like, "You can around my wife in your drawers?" If there was anybody else, I would have had a major issue with that. But everybody understands that Bennett is a little bit different and quirky, and swimming in his drawers might be perfectly normal to him. It's like every time they got ready to sleep, he kept bringing out that same gown, and I'm like, Bennett, did you only bring one thing to sleep in? I hope that's not your only gown. I hope you at least brought a couple of other things to sleep in. That's the only thing you're sleeping in? It reminded me of the grandpa from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Boy, I hope you brought something else. It was very cute to see them synchronized swimming. Like, they literally was synchronized swimming together in the water. It was so, like, that was so cute. They're so in tune with each other. She asked him what was one of his downfalls, and he said he's always put his partner's feelings before his own, and it's been to the detriment of their relationship because the other person feels like, you know, he's doing the most and they're not doing enough. And I don't know if she was throwing shade, but she was like, "Oh, your only fault is that you're too good." And he asked her the same thing, and she said she's too independent, and she chooses other people that are just as independent, so they end up growing apart because they tend to force their own paths, and they tend to lead opposite directions. It sounds like she needs someone that is going to, like, fall in line with her dreams, because she says she moves every couple of years, and she's going to have to move for her residency, and then once she finds the job, she might have to move again. And she just likes to move. She's like a nomad. She likes to move from place to place, apparently. And he basically asked her, well, will you ever settle down in one place? They were in the middle of playing this life-size version of chess, and so right when he asked her that question, she was like focused on the game, and she never answered. And I'm just like, Bennett, I hope you actually get that answer one way or the other. I think you're gonna follow her regardless, but I do think he deserves one, you know. Maybe they edited that out, I don't know, but I was like, that's a very important question. Let's get Karen and Miles out of the way. I had more hope before this episode, I'll say that. I'm still pulling for Karen and Miles, but I'm getting more discouraged. Karen asked, had he ever lived with a woman before, and he said he's had a female roommate but never a romantic partner that he's lived with. And she said she's never lived with a man before, and she said her biggest concern is she's not used to sharing space, and she's worried about alone time, and you know, being able to communicate that to him without coming across as rude and nasty. I totally can understand that, because I'm an only child, and I can totally understand wanting your own space. I'm trying to figure out, if I get married, like, when am I gonna have time to be by myself? Hopefully I can, and we're gonna have to talk about that. That's probably gonna be a difficult conversation to have. Maybe not, but it's going to have to happen, because I need that time where I could just think and talk to myself a little bit. Maybe I just need to chill with myself sometimes. So I understood where she was coming from. Miles said he always wanted someone to share his life with, and he said he didn't get to see his parents stay together. They got a divorce when he was 9 years old, but he did get to see his grandparents, you know, in a healthy, functional relationship for 55 years. And he said he's all in on this situation, and pretty much it's because Karen is very apprehensive because of his age. I believe that's what the discussion was. She told him that her ex had a baby on her, and she has a need for communication and honesty more than ever. He said he's willing to be patient and take however long she needs during this process. So, I mean, I guess that's a good thing, but Miles, you need to get in there. Like, that's one thing he can learn from Woody is Woody, he'll jump in the situation. he gonna shoot his shot no matter if he miss. You know what I'm saying? He might miss a few of them shots, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I'm not saying just grope her or be all over her, but you know what I'm saying? What I was trying to say is Miles needs to romance her. I think he tried a little bit at the end of this episode, but we'll get to it. Then he said he's been in 10 monogamous relationships, and she said she's been in 2 since she was 18. And she was concerned about him being a relationship hopper, and he's just saying, well, I have more experience. And it's like, okay, you've been in 10 monogamous relationships, I'm assuming since 18, since she happened to mention 18. What? That threw me off, because I mean, we talked about this a little bit last week. We talked about how high school relationships don't really count, and if you're talking about since 18, I'm gonna say a few of those from when you were 18, 19, 20, 21, some of those don't count either as long-term monogamous relationships. Like, I don't know. I just think he's counting some of them that shouldn't be counted, personally. Because 10, that's just very excessive for someone who says they want a long-term marriage. You know what I'm saying? It made me question him a little bit. I don't know. That really threw me off, and I don't blame Karen for being thrown off by him saying that. So they meet up with Woody and Amani, and they're going to, what do they call it? So Miles was calling Karen a cougar, even though she's only, what, 4 or 5 years older than him? And she was like, well, did your mom sign your permission slip for you to go on this trip? And he said, that's disrespectful. Okay, calling her a cougar, you trying to act like she's old, that's a little disrespectful too. And it's like, the whole permission slip thing was kind of funny, because it's like, Miles don't even know how his mama been acting behind the scenes. He don't even know. He don't even know that's the reason why she said that. I'm like, he is going to have his mouth on the ground every single week when he watches these episodes. They're going jet boating, which looks so fun, by the way. It looks so scary. It looks like, it's almost like a Six Flags ride mixed with a boat ride. It just looks so fun yet scary. I would be so scared that the boat was gonna turn over, but I would still want to do it. That just looked like big fun. Stop trying to make the stranger ship a thing. Like, they were talking to Woody and Amani on the bus on their way to do the like jet boating thing, and I'm just like, yeah, stop trying to make this stranger ship a thing. That is not cute. That is not fun. That's not adorable. Stop. It's cringy. But you know, Amani and Woody, they were trying to humor them, but it was kind of, let it go, please. And then here he go with the cougar thing again and calling her sugar mama. And she said it's driving her crazy. And, you know, Woody and Amani was trying to like get him to like, shut up. Like, that's not funny. Stop trying to make that joke. She said it didn't hurt her feelings or anything, but she just got irritated with him saying that over and over. And I probably would get irritated a little bit too. Like, I'm not even that much older than you. You acting childish. This is what she was talking about when she said she didn't want nobody your age. So after jet boating, they have a little conversation, and she says she doesn't take relationships lightly, and she was questioning his amount of relationships. He said he dates with the intention to marry, and if it's not working, then he's just gonna move on. And he said he knows what he wants, and in the last 2 years he's been working on himself so he could be ready to be with a wife. I hope that you have, Miles, because we got a lot riding on you, buddy. We got a lot riding on you. She also said that he can call her out when she's being closed off. I hope he takes full advantage of her saying that. She said she wasn't ready to be married at 26. Miles rebutted that by saying that, you know, he's basically mature enough to help lead a school, and you know, not many people his age are in his position. So, you know, touche. That doesn't mean that you're emotionally mature in the relationship department though. But I get what he's trying to say. I'm glad she was being upfront about how she felt though. I can respect that. So when they got home, Miles made the suggestion that they should spend the night sleeping in the hammock. And I was very, you know, that was a very unexpected surprise. I didn't think that Karen would actually say yes, because if y'all sleep in a hammock together, that's very up close and personal. And she's been putting a whole pillow barrier. So maybe this is a step in the right direction, because you got to be a little snuggled up. Now, I ain't gonna lie, Karen was very stiff in a hammock. I don't know how you be stiff in a hammock. Like, she was just, she barely even wanted to lay her head back. It's like, snuggle a little bit into him, girl. Y'all in the hammock now. You might as well. He got his arm around your neck. You might as well lean your head in. She was just stiff. I ain't never seen nobody be so stiff in a hammock. But anyway, child, let's move on. Woody and Amani. Every week, they get me every single week. Every week. We had a Iris and Keith situation. Woody was swimming in the pool. He was diving off that cliff so many times that his ring then came off. Like, they were swimming in the water. I guess he was, you know, diving too much or swimming too hard or doing a backflip or whatever he was doing. And his ring came off in the water. He said he was ready for Amani to, like, be upset. But Amani was real chill about it. She said it's not that deep. Personally, I wouldn't have been that upset about it either, but we're going to have to go find you a rubber one. We're going to have to find you one of those cheap ones that people wear when they work out. Just as a placeholder, you know what I'm saying? Just so people know. So, you know, we ain't going to get this twisted at all. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't flip out about it, but we are going to get a little replacement. Okay? So after everyone met up together, Woody and Amani were talking about how everyone was shocked that they have not consummated their marriage yet. Everybody thought their connection was so deep because of maybe intimacy. And, you know, she was just, Amani said their connection is strong without it. Imagine when they do. She also told him about her ex being secretly married behind her back. And she said she's had a lot of people in the past that have, you know, basically, I guess, cheated on her and not wanted to be exclusive with her. A lot of situationships. And she doesn't want to make him pay for it. She's trying to be as open as possible. But she's scared because the initial connection, you know, can be great. But then, you know, things change and people cannot be who they said they are. That's a very real concern. You know what I'm saying? Woody is very suave, very charming. You know what I'm saying? He has all the right words to say. I would be skeptical myself. I would be. I want to see the best, but, you know, you just never know. I expected the worst when I first saw him. Then when they got back to the room, they took another shower together. I'm like, y'all doing too much teasing of each other. Amani, this is you. Y'all doing too much teasing. I mean, taking showers and stuff, then y'all just teasing each other. Y'all winding yourself up for absolutely no reason. But obviously, you know, she's very attracted to him too. She just wants to take it slow and she doesn't want to rush anything. The last thing is completely random, but Amani said that Woody brushes his teeth just as loud as he chews, and I thought that was so funny. Because I had a roommate that brushed their teeth real loud and hard like that, and it's like, does it take all that to get your teeth clean every day? Like, your gums don't hurt. That don't hurt when you be brushing like. I guess not. I guess some people have gums of steel. But you guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I know it was kind of low energy. Maybe I should not have chose to do a review at 3 o'clock in the morning. I am a little drowsy, and plus I've been a little under the weather the past couple of days. And this medicine is kind of kicking my butt. So I hope y'all enjoyed it anyway, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.